Alright, Meow. Hope you all are doing well on this fall Thursday. It definitely took a drop in temperature overnight. We left off yesterday. We had just beat Brendan in Mono Normal Rad Red 4.1. So we're gonna clear through the Safari Zone, pick up the encounters we can do. Then it's off to Brock Misty Surge rematch, Koga, Cinnabon Island, May Jasmine, ideally Blaine. I'm not sure how it's going to play out. Normal isn't strong against any of those, but it also doesn't really have any glaring weaknesses, so we'll see how this plays out. I already know for a fact that I have no way to automatically clear weather, so if I want to do that, I either need to find a way to work with the weather or waste like one turn to clear the weather. I'm also thinking about doing Trick Room because there's a fair amount of normal types that can use Trick Room, and when I think about the Pokemon I'm going to be using in E4 for Mono Normal, only a few are fast, so I could probably get away with it, you know? I hope you've had a good Thursday. I just finished watching Emily D. Baker on YouTube doing live coverage of day 5 in the Sarah Boone trial. It was State's rebuttal, and there was a lot that made Sarah look really bad because more or less up until this point, everything has been from Sarah's POV. But Sarah was kind enough to record multiple videos of her degrading and abusing Jorge, and those just so happened to be on her phone. And then obviously we had the POV from the cops who would respond to the various calls for domestics and stuff. So I have been watching coverage throughout the week, whether it be on stream or not, and there were people that were like, oh, after the defense put on their stuff, people were definitely starting to see Sarah as the victim, and rightfully so. You can be a victim and an abuser at the same time. They were mutually abusive, but with all the stuff the state was able to put on today, I have a hunch anyone who was like on the fence is very much gonna be flipping it. Well, actually no. Anyone who's on the fence is very likely within the camp of, oh yeah, no, she was not the victim. She was more of an abuser. And that also lines up with what the ex, Brian Boone, said when it first happened. Because he would talk about how Sarah would come at him and he didn't really care because he's a big guy and she's little and she can't really hurt him. But that lines up with what something Jorge said about how she always starts fights with me, and then, you know. So it's pretty powerful. I don't know if I'm going to actually get any Sarah Boone coverage in today. I think I will probably try to, even if it's only a little something. Tomorrow is going to be fire, I think, because you're going to have the state reading out a 108-page PDF of all Sarah's texts, and there's some pretty damning ones, like, I will get rid, in all capitals, of, all capitals, him, referring to Jorge. So that's a good bit of fun. And a lot of those videos that she took were also on her phone, so maybe some of those will be... I think they came in earlier. They weren't allowed to come in on the opening statement, so all the state could do is more or less read from the transcript of them. All right, Safari Zone, let's go. So within Safari Zone, we absolutely want to get Chansey because Blissey. And probably Tauros because Intimidate. There's not really anything else. I mean, I could technically go for Spinda because Contrary, but it only has 480 base stat total, so that's not super exciting, you know? It's like, oh, that's neat, but eh. Alright, what do we have? I have to remember where they all are. Kecleon is very slow, so I'm not excited about that. I don't even know if it can do a Trick Room, but there's few mon where it's like, yeah, I want to use only a water type in mono water, but Blissey is kind of gross, and I've seen people use Blissey in runs to like stall and shit, so it'll absolutely be a good special defense wall for the fair amount of special mon there are within E4. All right. Blussers. And then it's probably going to be the usual Protect, Wish, Seismic Toss, and something else with leftovers. I think that was one of maybe 3 Pokemon at most. We don't need any of the Mega Stones because we have access to the code that gives you all of them. I limit myself to using it once we fight Sabrina, because then that's when canonically you get the ability to use the Mega Stone Ring. I'm also gonna grab Cast Form because its form changes in weather, so it's kind of a way to get coverage. Sadly, there's no Sandstorm form, so I can only use it in rain, sun, ice. Yes. The name I want isn't gonna fit. I want to go Sephiroth Ragnarok, my OC no steal. So instead we're gonna go for Seriously. Good enough. I may not actually end up using it, but I do want to have it. Tauros. Kind of feels like some sort of Ram Ranch. I think it's like Ram Ranch 17. I'm not sure if it's gonna fit. Actually, no. Let's make it more to the point. Ramrod. Team Ramrod. Car Ramrod. Alright. We have access to Dream Patches and Ability Pills, so it's not a big deal that I don't have the Ideal Nature on it. My axe. Oh, I need that. I always forget which one's actually an item versus not. Thankfully, the game has the color coding on the balls, so you know. Okay, good. Not missing anything there. I kind of already mapped out Brock in my head. I'm like halfway through thinking what I need for Misty. Surge is absolutely going to be the hardest of the rematches, and we can defog to get rid of the terrain, or, which realistically is what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a Indeedee with Psychic Surge, and then I can use Expanding Dong on Psychic Terrain for major damage. All right, very good. Thank you. We can't use it outside of battle, but at least we'll have a strong water move. Because not everyone can learn Scald. Whereas a lot of people, even Pikachu, can learn Surf. Because the Surfboard Pikachu. I think it's this way. Yoink. We get our expanding dong. Very powerful. I'm not gonna bother with the Smurgle. It's hard to get it to sketch the moves. I think you might be able to get it in a double battle, but then I just have to hope I'm able to find a double battle and they use the move I need it to sketch. So I think I'll grab it just so I don't have to come back, but it's probably never getting used. All right. Also, I don't like the fact that Smurgle looks like Smeagol, or it sounds like it. Oh, hey, Silmila, thank you for the kind words. I hope you're doing well. Radical Red Mono Normal. This is our 11th monotype. As we have someone here in chatting, per tradition, we're gonna get some Pallas Cats up in here. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. We're very likely gonna get some Sarah Boom crime coverage today because the defense rests and the state more or less just put an exhibit on that makes her look horrible, and rightfully so. I'm sorry to hear you're tired. I've been up significantly earlier than I would like, so I can also relate to that feeling of exhaustion. Let's see if we can find some good mono video. That one's gonna be too short, sadly. This is Bull. He's eeping on his stump. Stumps, the knowledge is imparted from the stump to the bull. You can tell by the light that it's golden hour. Golden hour is big, especially in Japan. Yeah, he be quite silly. We're gonna let it go through at least once. Sadly, there's no audio for it. But then again, that's sometimes better than like AI generated music. After mono normal, we are going to do mono dark because spooky season, Halloween. Pretty much anything that my parents didn't like was the devil growing up. So I've got an easy way out to be like, well, I never got to do that because it was the devil. He's such a good boy. I love Bull. I mean, I love all of them, but Bull is truly special. All right, so we also, and that would have been at the Nasu Animal Kingdom in Japan. I'm not sure if it was taken from this year, though. I really don't like that, I don't know if it's all, but more often than not, when I'm clicking like a YouTube video that's in a Discord, it has embedded ads. So it's like, bruh, you know? Big cringe, in my opinion. A lot of them are just too short, you know? Let's see what this is all about. All right. This will be one of the channels out of Japan. Radical Red, it's good insofar as it has a lot of quality of life. You can swap your EVs and IVs by talking to an NPC. It has a built-in randomizer. It has minimum grind mode. It has new game plus support, so you can do like random types. You can get all the mega stones, etc. Mons, gens 1 through 9. It'll probably be updated one day once Gen 10's been out for a minute. It's very hard in the sense that the AI sees everything. So for example, they see through Zoroark having illusion. They see what moves you have, what abilities you have. They predict the swaps. They see your held item. They know what your ability is. A good example of that, you can have taunt on your Mon, and if the enemy has taunt, they'll see your taunt and they'll try to taunt you first. But someone I was watching last night going through Elite Four, they did that, but they were like, well, I'm not really going to use taunt, so I'm going to wear an assault vest to make me tankier. Downside being assault vest Mon can't use special moves, status moves, so taunt's one of them. The AI saw the status move, the AI saw the assault vest, and the AI didn't try to taunt. So the quality of life is what keeps me coming back. And yeah, as Samila said, 11 monotypes. So Natty Gill, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the first time chat. We're doing a short Pallas Cat break. They're wild cats, predominantly in Asia. Less than 57,000 of them in the world. This is very likely at a zoo in Japan because the characters look Japanese. And they have round bodies, round eyes, rounded ears. Ambush predators, very low to the ground, quite adorable. I love when they do the window wiping. But yeah, there's 18 types, so 7 more to go. Then I get the joy of doing a hardcore run, which bans a lot of really good abilities, but the AI can still use them. So that's going to be pain with a capital S. Based on some of the comments, this is likely Gnar. He's the male Pallas Cat of Gnar and Az at Nasu Animal Kingdom, Japan. He's been sadly by himself for a minute because when the mom gives birth to the kittens, they are basically just the mom and the kittens. So the father gets isolated, and from a human POV, it's really sad because now the kittens are all grown up and they don't recognize Gnar because they've never seen him. And Gnar has like a permanent sad boy look on his face, like at least one other Pallas Cat because genetics. And it makes me really sad inside that Gnar's so sad, his head's so dirty, he's all alone. And I fucking hate it for him, you know? Like, I'm not capping. The video is sadder than I would have preferred. I absolutely feel for poor Gnar. So now we're gonna go of one of Gnar and Az being together because they are adorable, and that will undo the depresso I just gave myself. All right, let's see where that one is. I hope everyone's been having a good Thursday. All right. So where are you? I don't always recognize. There it is. Found it. And then this will be from Kumaman Naoki. I probably butchered that, but that's okay. So yeah, Nar has a super dirty head. He's being groomed by his wife Az, and this was taken prior to Az giving birth. Breeding season for Pallas Cats in the wild, 1 day a year. They have low population density, so between low pop density, unlikeliness that they'll actually be able to propagate, weak immune systems, etc., overcrowding, overcompetition with other animals, it's easy to see why their numbers are in decline, you know? But yeah, Nar's such a good boy, and Az is so gentle. The female Pallas Cats are known for bullying their males, and it's nice that for the most part, Az does not do that. I know in reality it's just, you know, humans humanizing animals, but I choose to believe it's like that. And I love that for Az and Nar. The kittens of Az are actually known as the Kanji 4 because their names are characters. I think it's Otto, May, and 2 others I'm currently forgetting, but they're all grown up now, and hopefully that means there will be more time of Az and Nar being together, and hopefully they'll be able to do some trade offers with other zoos, because genetic diversity, especially within Chinese model, is really poor, and you really don't want to make their health worse, you know. All right, so we got the Smurgle. We can more or less get out of here now. I don't think there's anyone here. Oh, there's Chat Tot. Okay, mainly because it has, I think it's Chitter Chatter or whatever. It's a signature move, and apparently it's quite strong. So we're gonna grab that. Sadly, baseline Eevee has horrible stats. So even like an Eevee-O-Lite Eevee with the low base stat total wouldn't be enough. Now, if it were something like, I think Pokemon Insurgents fan game that made a Mega Eevee, and it had its own version of Protean. So if you used a fire move as Eevee, you would turn into Flareon. That was really cool. All right, so now we need to build the team, and an example of it being more difficult than like your bog standard Fire Red, you have to rematch Brock, Misty Surge to fight Koga. And then after you fight Koga, May ambushes you at the Pokemon Mansion, and you have to fight her. And all the teams are completely revamped to the point that there's a Google document that has what all the fights are, due to the absolute BS that the AI is known for using. There you go, teleport out, since they don't let you dig out. Give this guy the Gummers, because we don't want to get to Victory Road and be like, oh fuck, we never grabbed Strength. All right, so let's suss this out. I want to say I was writing it down somewhere. I was. Okay, good. So we're gonna grab some Mon. We're gonna go Aerialate Swellow for the Great Tusk. We're gonna go Exploud with Soundproof for the Blood Moon Ursaluna, because half his moves are sound-based. We'll wanna hold probably a Choppleberry for Vacwave. We have a Sawsbuck, which is basically a grass deer. We have that for Omastar. We have Mega Lopunny for T-Tar. Maybe a simple Bibarel holding a Wakanda Berry for Hisuian Arcanine. And then Raichu for Mega Aerodactyl because Fake Out and Zippy Zap. Alright. So I have some of those people on my team already, which is nice, definitely. I like Banksy. Banksy is a Grafai, mainly because Prankster. It's the only Prankster normal or poison mon I'm aware of, which means Taunt will stop various shenanigans like setup, and it doesn't have to be super fast. Because while Banksy is fast, I think it's only like maybe 110 or 115 speed. And there's mon in here with like 600 speed after like booster energy or quirk drive or other shenanigans. All right. I was putting off mono normal for a long time because I know that normal has some very strong mon, but it's also really fucking boring. But I figured, hey, may as well. I put it off for 11. I put it off for 10 runs, you know. All right, so Exploud. Okay. I'm not sold on Bibarel, but I think I do want to try Bibarel because simple will make spamming Curse take a lot less time. But I'm not entirely sold on it because Hisuian Arcanine is a beefy boy. I mean, it's no more special defense beefy, so I guess it doesn't really matter. All right. Outside of very specific setups where the whole team more or less baton passes all the stats onto a Bibarel. Bibarel's a bit of a meme, but I always would use one in a different ROM hack because you get it early and it's a really good HM slave. All right. Yeah, that'll work. So, what have you been up to today, Samila? Or what does the rest of your week look like? I know there's only one more day left, but then you also have the weekend, which, you know, we love that. All right, Beaverly. You already have Aqua Jet to my knowledge, so that's fine. We're gonna grab Curse. Simple means the stat bonuses are doubled. Very powerful. I'm gonna keep the Yawn. I'm gonna keep the Aqua Jet because I'm never gonna naturally outspeed. Let's see what the Egg Tutor has for him. Okay, so yeah, Adamant, because attack. Okay, I don't hate that. Sadly, none of those are better, though, you know? Okay. I think I'm also going to give myself Swords Dance, just in case I don't feel like I need the defense buff from, what's it called? From Curse. Since Curse also does make you slower. Curse, Yawn, Hyper Dong, no thank you. The 90 accuracy for Hyper Fang is a bit of an issue. And then Wakanda Berry, since it has Wild Charge, and that's it's gonna do major damage. We don't like Wakanda Berry. We don't like lightning damage on our water types. And then Swellow. we're gonna hold nothing because actually no, we're gonna I think we're gonna hold a rock berry, so it's gonna be a charty berry. We're gonna make it be, I think, it's gonna be aerial 8 because we want to have boom burst do major damage and have it be air boosted instead. I'm also gonna grab dual wing beat because it hits twice, which helps deals with sash. We'll keep quick attack because that'll basically be air boosted quick attack. Sandaconda the Mega also has aerial 8, which is actually really dope because it goes from being ground to ground flying with aerial 8. All right. No facade, or as I used to say it as a kid, fakeade. We go not modest. We go rash because most of them are physical attackers. Bella in the front. Charty berry. We need to make sure it has, what's it called? Aerial 8. There's aerial 8. There's pixel 8. There's galvanize. There's refrigerate. And there's probably at least one other I'm forgetting, but they turn normal moves into a corresponding element with a 20% damage bonus. There you go. And actually, Koga leads with a Boom Burst Swallow. That's the only reason why I even thought to use it, you know. And it's also, I think it's choice scarfed, so it basically is always going first. So you either rely on priority or you do a trick room setup. All right. And then we're gonna do U-turns so we can pivot out. It's always a useful, if you know you outspeed, it's nice to have the ability to pivot away. What about you, Lopunny? Honestly, I think I'll stick to the Ice Punch. And we're gonna make Hopsy our Mega now because we haven't had to fight with her where I thought it would be fruitful to actually use the Lopunite when I fought Sabrina, since Sabrina has a lot of fairy coverage for being a psychic, because of course she does. I used a Roselli Berry, which is reduces super effective fairy move, since, you know, fighting loses to it. Lopunite. Or am I... Oh, already holding it, even better. All right. Raichu is set up for... Raichu is almost set up. We're gonna actually give it static so I can swap in on a Mon, and if it hits me, it will likely get parried. We're not gonna bother with Play Rough. Mona. Normally I would go, what's it called? Normally I would stick to Punk Rock because it does boost your damage output and it reduces the damage you take. But taking 0 damage seems a lot more appealing than still taking half. So we are going to do exactly that. And it does get Aura Sphere now, which is really nice. And then we want to hold a... Actually, since Vac Wave is only 2 times, I think I'm going to hold Citrus Berry instead for generic healing. Okay. There is a world where I do weakness policy, but I don't think I have access to a priority move. Okay, okay, so that's Scrappy. Soundproof, there we go. Which means that'll more or less force the Blood Moon Ursaluna to only use Earth Power or Vacuum Wave. Just in case I can't get a clean swap in with Sawsbuck, I'm gonna give it a Yachi Berry for the Ice Beam. Okay. Okay, so Bella's squared away. Ah, that's what, static. And that's another quality of life. Normally it would be a massive pain in the ass to get things like ability pills and dream capsules, but there's a vendor in Saffron you can buy them from, and there's also a code that gives you care packages at pre-designated points in the game, and it includes various berries, held items, evolution stones, etc. Very pog, very huge. You also get an Estus Flask, i.e. the Poke Vial. It has 6 charges to full heal your team, and it recharges when you go to a Poke Center. So it's incredibly powerful. And boy, let me tell you, playing a lot of Rad Red, and then playing something that isn't Rad Red, that doesn't have the all the quality of life, it feels like a kick in the dick. Alright, where were you? There you are, static. Yep. And then that's air balloon, so it can't do earthquake. Citrus Berry, that does still need to change, so we can grab Aura Sphere, because I'm pretty sure I've seen Aura Sphere on an Exploud. I have. So I'm not crazy, I'm just mostly crazy. Alright, very good. We'll keep the Ice Beam. We'll keep the Boom Burst because it's not a double battle. We'll nix Hyper Dong. And then that basically leaves one move open. I'd also like to say it's fucking criminal that a sound-based mon can't learn Snarl, because snarling is a sound. Big cringe. Also doesn't get Psychic Noise. Gonna nix the Ice Punch. I think Jump Kick and Mach Punch and Fake Out will be enough. No Pluck. Yeah. Just Water Pulse for Exploud. Can't even get Dark Pulse. Let's see. No. No. The only time I even learned Iron Tail on a Mon because of the horrible accuracy was a Watchdog with no guard. Moves always hit. It was pretty nice. Alright. But we absolutely will be needing stuff like defog for Surge because we want to get rid of the permanent electric terrain. No. Also, Sawsbuck and Raichu have names up for grabs if anyone wants to name them. I do have other Pokemon that could be named, so there is technically like more, but those are the only two that are unnamed currently on my team. All right, so good, 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 good. I feel like that can change because there's no grass. What do we go with instead? That's not gonna matter. What about Dream Patch? Serene Grace. That's actually a big upgrade because if an ability has an extra effect, it has a higher chance of proccing now. Also, I don't want to redo any of that, so we save. That is probably the one negative, another negative I have. Like, it's a meaningful negative. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does happen, you just casually lose like an hour or two of progress. So you more or less have to develop a tendency to ABS. Always be saving. All right. Save again. All right, we're gonna take on Brock now. So Brock's gimmick in the rematch, permanent Sandstorm, and any team that's gonna have weather is gonna be based around it. So for example, Geo2, Sandstorm, has Rockmon, so they get a 50% special defense bonus. Has Mon with Sand Veil or Sand Rush for up evasion and up speed. It's gross. Or you have the Sun Route, which means instant cast solar beams, chlorophyll for double speed on grass Mon. It's not ideal. Or the rain route for perfect accuracy thunders and hurricane. Save. Go team. Okay, swaps out, which means Stealth Rock is sadly gonna be coming in at some point. There's no world where we outspeed Aerodactyl, so I'm gonna read this as it goes for Stone Edge. I'm gonna hope Stone Edge misses. Okay, D-Dance. So that would normally be scary, but we have Fake Out for Chippies. And then we have Zippy Zap, which always hits. Well, no. It always goes first and it always crits. So think of it like a better E-speed with a lower base power. And I feel relatively confident that this is going to kill the Aerodactyl. Hell yes. So Aerodactyl was one of the biggest threats. Okay, Great Tusk. It probably goes for Stealth Rock into Knockoff. It could also go for Close Combat. So I don't like any of that, but I think I'm gonna go into Swellow. All right. Yep. Sadly, nothing I can do about that. Where now it doesn't care that it lives because the AI prioritized getting Stealth Rock out, which means chippies for any time I have to swap in, which now is an example that I absolutely need to be doing that. As much as I want to hit him on the way out, Omastar's weak armor where its speed goes up every time it's hit. So we have to sadly eat this. I think it goes for... I think it goes Shell Smash. I think it goes Shell Smash. I don't know if it sees a kill with Ice Beam, and I don't think it wants to waste Power Herb on a Swallow. So this is a little out of the box insofar as I already got rid of Aerodactyl, so I feel I can play a little fast and loose with Raichu. Okay. Interesting that it went Surf. So now we're gonna go with Fake Out. That being said, Omastar, I don't know if -1 defense is gonna let Zippy Zap actually kill. I don't think it does. It does not. So not great, but it's livable, you know? So we'll go in on Hopsy because we Fake Out. In comes Ursaluna. Blood Moon Ursaluna is probably going Earth Power because it would be its strongest move. Well, it would be its strongest, like, not resisted move, because normal against normal doesn't really do anything. So I'm gonna gamble on it being Earth Power, but I'm gonna swap into Mona, who's soundproof. Okay, so that's super annoying that Blood Moon does not count as a sound move. That reminds me of how Roar of Time is also not coded for being a sound move. This is a reset because it completely changes how I interact with Ursaluna. Okay, I hate that, which means we have to go with Punk Rock, and we want to go Chillin' Berry to reduce the Blood Moon. That is super annoying that it did not interact the way I wanted it to. It's okay though. It also affords me the opportunity of putting Defog on my Swellow so I can get rid of Stealth Rock after Great Tusk inevitably dies because he swaps out like a bitch on that first turn. All right. There we go. So that was obviously pretending for content. Go team. This is D-Dance. Okay. Different. Actually, no, not different. Okay, so how do I want to play this? Yep. Eat the Stealth Rock. Interesting that it wanted to swap out again. My guess is it read the defog, so instead of staying in and dying, it was like, I'm just gonna bounce. This is not ideal. Arcanine is also faster. Arcanine also has Accelerock. So I think he has Accelerock and he has Wild Charge. I don't want to get hit with either. And I probably don't naturally outspeed. 90? Oh, he has no Accelerock. That's actually not bad then. Okay. We're gonna U-turn out then. Some chip damage. Beaverly, this is your time to shine. Go Wakanda Berry. Okay. Problem is I don't get to Aqua Jet because it's gonna outspeed and then it would go again and kill me. So, I mean, 4 times effective. We take that. Okay, T-Tar. I feel like, well, no. I know that the AI, when you're below half HP, it goes for a random move. So 3 of those just automatically kill. So I'm gonna bank on it picking a killing move, and we're just gonna go Aqua Jet for chip damage. Sadly, that does proc his weakness policy. It's okay though, because we can still beat him. We go in with Hopsy. We Mega, we Fake Out. We Jump Kick because 95 accuracy, so I didn't have to worry about a wide lens. Ursaluna. I'm going straight for the Jump Kick. I need to get some chip damage. HQ, Meowdy, hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. This is Mono Normal, where we're attempting to mug the frick out of Broxmon. Blood Moon Ursaluna is being big cringe. I hope you, your sister, and the cats are doing well. We going with Mona. It swaps out because he's a bitch. Sadly, we just hit him, so now weak armor is likely gonna proc. Oh, it didn't. That's actually really dope. So instead, we'll go Aura Sphere again. Regrettable, but understandable. Thank you for asking. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. I appreciate the lurk, HQ. I mean, it's not ideal, but we have Raichu. And now we're back here again, where frickin' what's his nuts, all he does is swap out because he's a bitch. Yeah, not ideal. All right, so that means we're just gonna go with Sawsbuck, Hornleech, Raichu with the Fake Out. Oh, I miscalculated. Okay, I did not know Ursaluna was still alive. Well, I knew Ursaluna swapped out, but I'm like, oh, it's just 1 mon left. So, you know what they say, right? 3rd time's the charm. Obviously, the first 2 attempts were pretending for content. Okay. Yumi, thank you for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. 4th time's the charm. I keep getting juked by the AI in Mono Normal. I'm attempting to Mog Max and Phantom Tax the rematches. Yeah, it's... The first one wasn't bad. I had a misunderstanding on how an ability interaction worked. The second one was close. That 3rd one, we're not gonna worry about that 3rd one. 4th time's the charm. So we're gonna Boom Burst. For some reason, it decides to stay in. I think that's the 20% chance for the AI to not do the smart move, because 4.1 had changes to make the AI harder to predict. I hope you're doing well, Yumi. I hope you stocked up on your Dr. Pepper. I hope that you drank a little bit of water today. After Brock, we are going to do a little bit of crime coverage. I was watching someone do live coverage of Sarah Boone murder trial day 5. The state dropped a lot of bombs insofar as body cam footage and footage that Sarah took on her phone that very much paint her in a bad light. Because prior until this point, it had been, oh, George does all these terrible things to me, and George is dead, so he can't defend himself and he can't refute what you're saying. But she comes off as the aggressor and the bully, and we love that because earlier testimony made people feel sympathetic to Sarah. This shit is gonna fucking flip people. I've never gotten into probiotic water, but I take probiotics in the morning and at night. So I love that you're having some healthy water for you. Yeah, I love that for her as well. She rejected basically 4 to 8 years in prison. So now if she's found guilty, it's 22 years mandatory minimum for murder 2. What are you gonna stream tonight? Okay, so Aerodactyl, we don't outspeed. We go in with Raichu with an air balloon. This is Dragon Dance. This is Fake Out. Sadly, Zippy Zap may not be enough because in the prior sequences, Great Tusk swapped first turn, so Arrow had to eat extra damage. Okay, I've not heard of it. It very much sounds like the pro tag is going to be you deliver shit at night and it's horror, you know? So that'll be a good bit of fun. We are going for the Zippy. I don't want to risk him going for a Dragon Dance and have the Thunderclap fail, so we go Zippy Zap. Not ideal, but we can come in and take care of Aerodactyl. Okay. Or he runs away like a bitch. Thankfully, he lost all his stacks. I don't think I die here, so we're gonna go for a yawn. I might die, but I'm gonna pretend I'm not gonna die. I need Beaverly for Hisuian Arcanine. Okay, we live. So now we don't. But we get the clean swap, which is what mattered. Sawsbuck, this was a backup for Omastar. Nice. Sadly, I think I shrimply die to dual wing beat, but I'm gonna try a wild charge. Nope, I'm just fucking dead. All right, it's fine. Fake Out. Jump kick. It has a priority move, but I have a priority move and I'm faster. I'm gonna die from sand. So I'm gonna kick away. I die to sand. I'm gonna go in on Mona. I'm gonna go Aura Sphere. Head Smash actually missed. That's extremely powerful. That doesn't. And now this is a really big problem because none of this is super effective. I'm gonna hope that Boom Burst does enough. It probably won't. So, obviously, 5th time's the charm. Yeah, that one, that was the closest. And I was feeling really good about that one because Great Tusk just died. But the sequence of events did not work out in the end, sadly. So yeah, this is how it usually happens. Swap into Raichu, Dragon Dance, Fake Out into Zippy Zap, swap into Hopsy, Fake out. Jump kick. We do outspeed. Stealth rock, sadly. Another jump kick. He's almost dead though, so it's fine. I'm gonna go in with Beaverly. That was not the play. Fake out. Mona. Eat the Blood Moon. Aura Sphere. Okay. Okay, not bad. This is still livable. It's just definitely not preferable. And sadly, I'm pretty sure it is gonna outspeed the Sawsbuck. Let me double check. Okay, base 90. Sawsbuck. 105. Okay. Not ideal though. Okay. Fake out. Fake out into E-speed. Maybe it's enough. It is. I'm below half, so AI goes random move. I'm just gonna go Zippy Zap because if I gamble on Thunderclap and he picks Shell Smash, Thunderclap fails. Okay, he's faster. He saw the kill, which definitely made sense. I really gotta hope that this Boom Burst kills. Yeah, it... honestly, like, if I'm being for real and I'm not capping, this is genuinely annoying. But we're gonna get there by hell or high water. All right, fake out, Zippy Zap, swap into Hopsy. It did a D-dance, very scary. Jump kick. We swap out. Boom burst. We have to swap out, sadly, into Beaverly. Aqua Jet, not ideal. We go back into Hopsy for the fake out. Ursaluna with the jump kick, definitely not ideal. Horn Leech. That was definitely not the ideal play. Gotta eat the Stealth Rock. Of course he swaps out. We're gonna go into Mona. Aura Sphere. It's fine though because we can Zippy Zap. I do not love this. If Bella swaps in, she just dies. Probably. No. So we, yeah. I'm pleased, and I wasn't keeping count. So I'm just gonna say that was lucky number 7. Oh, that was... Normally Brock really isn't bad, but as you can see, these teams are significantly harder than what one is used to. All right, so on to Misty. We're gonna pull up some crime coverage. To give you an idea of Misty, so it's Permanent Rain with a 0 to Hero Palafin, Kingdra with Swift Swim, Archaludon with Sturdy, Mega Gyarados, Ferrothorn with Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet, and then a Dazzling Gorbis which blocks priority moves with a Focus Sash. I can absolutely troll Misty with a Heliolisk because dry skin, So the only thing I have to do is hold a Chipotle Berry to negate the Drain Punch. I'm not sure what I'm doing about Kingdra yet. I have a ground type for Archaludon. I have a flying type, most likely for Gyarados. I could also... Yeah, I have a flying type for Gyarados. I have a fire type for Ferrothorn, i.e. Adaptability Pyroar. And then for Gorbis, I'm not sure yet, but it can't be anything priority because Dazzling blocks priority moves. But yeah, it is a sight more difficult than I would prefer. Also, before crime coverage, we're gonna get a little Pallas Cat video in. We did 2 earlier, but there are more people here now, so it's important to get the coverage while the iron is hot. Gonna go with Baby Shoe. Not really baby, but over a year old now. He's at a zoo in Russia. He's absolutely fluffy, very adorable. Just need to wait for the camera to finish buffering. There it is. I love the anime wink in the beginning. That little T-Rex pose with the tiny arms. I love it so much. Oh, and the hop. This was taken when he was only 6 months old. Very large, even larger than his mother. But obviously it's fur. Yes, very floofy. It's majestic, truly. One of God's finest creatures. It is sad though, he was a litter of 1. So either the rest died and we don't know about it, or it was literally just him. But he's an absolute unit, and that was from... That was like very likely from Monolization, i.e. Roman Pavlov on YouTube. They do a lot of Pallas Cat videos, primarily the ones in Russia. Maybe they have people in Russia, that wouldn't surprise me. These ones were born this year. Lolo in Novosibirsk, possibly the same zoo that Shu is from. Either way, they're both in Russia. I'm gonna grab some water while this one plays out. And this would be one of like 3 litters of Russian Pallas Cats that were born this year. We lost quite a few, more than I'm willing to count, but I'm hoping that even if like half of them go on to reach sexual maturity and get sent to like other zoos, it'll help with genetic diversity, and it will also just keep the numbers going up instead of down, which was less than 57,000 like 6 months ago. Yeah, they're so fucking adorable. Honestly, like, I'm not capping. I was a dog person before I found out about Pallas Cats. So yeah, I love them. They're truly marvelous little creatures. So much personality, pun intended. If you're not familiar with the Courtney Clenny case, here's the long and short of it. Performer on OnlyFans. She allegedly murdered her boyfriend. She's claiming it's self-defense. There is a checkered past of violence between her and the deceased partner. Prior incidences involving other partners and a bunch of other stuff. And apparently there was a hearing that had her, a knife, and a pig carcass, very likely trying to use the pig carcass as the body to demonstrate that, oh yeah, I defended myself with the knife in this way, and then trying to corroborate if the injuries could actually be made that way. And once again, the victim is a person of color in predominantly white America. So I am concerned that justice is not going to be met, especially since the defendant is white and rich and a woman. So, and that last part's important because typically the woman is the victim. That's why it's battered wife syndrome, but over time it's become battered spouse. And spouse is a misnomer. It can be any, like, significant other partner. It doesn't have to be, oh, you're not married, so it doesn't count. So it's another man who's a victim. He was like a 6 foot tall something African American, and men in the past when they've been victims, it's like, Lamau, just toughen up, stop being a pussy, you know? So that automatically goes in the face of it. And it happened in the South, and he was African American. So it's just got like all the makings of he's probably not gonna get justice. And I pray that there's enough evidence between laptop, text messages, character testimony, witness, blah, 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 that justice will actually be carried out. So I think it's Court TV. Let's look this up. I'm trying to think of the one I saw recently. Oh, maybe it was Long Crime. Okay. Long Crime. There you go.
That's a man throwing knives at a dead pig. The video played during a recent hearing for OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny. I'll tell you why Clenny is hoping that video will help her in her effort to get out of jail on bail as she awaits trial for the murder of her boyfriend. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Courtney Clenny has been in jail since her arrest back in August of 2022. She faces a second-degree murder charge in the stabbing death of her boyfriend, Christian Abamselli. Clenny maintains she stabbed Abamselli in April 2022 during an argument at their condo in Miami in self-defense. Clenny wants to be released on bail, and her attorneys presented a video of a knife-throwing expert throwing knives at a pig carcass and testimony from a forensic pathology to back up her claim of self-defense. More on that in a bit. But first, more on what happened between Clenny and Abamselli back in 2022.
All right, we're going to get ready to fight Misty.
Was captured by police body cameras.
Get up right now. Why have to keep it around
All right, let's
was
see.
covered in blood when police arrived at the condo back in April of 2022. Officers had placed her in the hallway at the complex where she asked several times how Christian was doing, and then she told police what happened.
Homicide's the one responding for DD. So wait, is he dead? Is he dead? Sit down. You know, he's not dead, is he?
He's dead.
I need to be at the hospital with him. No, you're not going in. Why? Because we're conducting an investigation.
And if you're not familiar, cops are allowed to lie to you. They can pretty much do anything short of beating a confession out of you and or making up evidence, but that doesn't stop them from doing it. So yeah, she's not sitting pretty, and she has a real shit personality. So there's definitely a level of satisfaction and seeing her get a reality check.
It was free. It was I was self-defense. My mom was on phone.
And I've covered multiple cases in the past where they just so happen to be white and they're assholes and they're claiming self-defense, and the victims just so happen to be African American and they just so happen to be from Florida. Two examples is Michael Draka. He was a guy who used to hang around a local convenience store. He would walk around the parking lot and check to see if they had handicap parking tags, which allow the vehicle to go in handicap parking spots. And he saw that they had a tag, but he discerned, in his opinion, that they were using the handicap parking spot in a way that was unethical, i.e. they had the tag and no one was handicapped. So he picked a fight, he gets pushed, he pulls his weapon and kills the guy in cold blood, and then claims self-defense. By the way, he lost life in prison. Another example. I think it's Anthony Tott, or it might be the other one, but it's another instance where white guy rocks up to convenience store. He pulls up next to a car full of African American teenagers blasting their music. He claims he pulls out his firearm and starts blasting because they drew on him and they threatened him. Yeah, that never fucking happened. He got 2 life sentences. He's gonna rot and die in prison. And it's so great because throughout the whole interrogation, he's like, I'm the victim. I can't believe they arrested me for defending myself. Oh, those guys, those animals. Yeah, exactly. And I fucking hate that it cost someone their life for those people to be taken off the street. But yeah, he was absolutely shocked. It's like, wait, you're arresting me? Oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. I was defending myself. Like, no, it's not how it works.
Okay, well, listen, the detectives are coming, you're gonna talk to them, and then you're gonna swear in your...
But I'm gonna be covered in blood. I look crazy. I was holding him while he was spurting blood, trying to stop the blood.
Okay, so you guys started arguing, then what happened?
Threw me against the wall, showed me, and you're looking like this. He's never like showed me.
Let's see.
Okay,
crazy stuff. But like, I couldn't breathe. Then he put me on the
So he throws you against the wall?
Then he put me on the ground, choked me. That's happened 2 other times.
Did he tell you anything that...
Just like that kind of face, like where I was really scared and I was trying to get him off of me. He took it off. Then he and he started like charging at me, and I said like, I'm gonna like massage you because do it, and they charged me, but he was far away, and I never in a million years like I'm scared.
A statue at you?
No, it was the knife. I said like I was just holding it to be like, please don't come anywhere near me.
Clenny and Albumselli, no doubt, had a volatile relationship. It was toxic. Even her lawyers have told me that in prior interviews. Clenny was an OnlyFans model, and she used drugs. Clenny maintains Albumselli was abusive, while his family maintains that Clenny was actually the abuser.
Yep.
There are many videos that show Clenny acting aggressively toward Albumselli and hitting him.
Decide whether or not you're done.
And it's a societal thing. And a good example of it is with the Menendez brothers about how they may be released. And back when those killings happened, no one believed, and you still see it to this day, men can't be victims. Men can't be victims of sexual assault. It's the toxic masculinity. It's a huge problem. And there are people who are pieces of shit who are aware of that notion, and as such, they will play it to their advantage. They will weaponize the police. They'll weaponize white women tears, and it's despicable.
And you can decide right now.
That's good. I asked you
Okay.
I don't know, and I apologize. You hit me.
Now, after Clenny stabbed Albumselli, detectives told her in the interrogation room
And
that
yes,
he was
it
dead,
is crazy.
and
It's
she
fucking
appeared shocked.
horrible. Okay, let's see.
Christian is dead. Oh my god.
Now, fast forward to this recent hearing where Clenny's lawyers asked Judge Lauren Sheeran Cruz to release their client on bail.
What is your opinion in this case?
That's Dr. John Marasini, a well-known forensic pathologist in Florida who says he's been an amateur knife thrower for 30 years. He believes Clenny could have thrown a knife from a distance.
30 years and he's still an amateur? Yeah, I don't think we should be listening to that. Like, there's something, I forget the legal term, but you're basically vetting the person to prove that they're an expert witness. And I'm sorry, but if I'm on the jury and I'm hearing, oh, we have an amateur knife thrower who claims technically what Courtney Clenny did could work, as such, self-defense? No, not gonna happen. Yeah, no. It is important to try not to generalize, but when you've seen a bunch of shitty people do the same shitty things, and it gets really hard to not just like paint with too broad of a brush.
And caused Albumselli's fatal
Especially since I'm a survivor of abuse. So that automatically biases me in a certain way.
wound, just as she claimed. Now to the video. Clenny's attorneys enlisted the help of knife-throwing expert Bobby Branton. Branton owns Branton Knife Works out of South Carolina. The company makes throwing knives, and Branton has been throwing knives for decades, according to his web.
That's also an important distinction. Throwing knife. Not all knives are made for throwing, and I wonder if Courtney just so happened to have throwing knives. She's also called him the N-word multiple times. So there's a huge power dynamic too. Yeah, exactly.
Website. Branton is throwing knives at a pig carcass that's fixed to a board. And you might be asking, why a pig carcass? Well, pigs have similarities to humans when it comes to muscle structures. Meanwhile, prosecutors...
Pigs also have similarities to cops. ACAB. Yeah, and the pig's not moving.
are skeptical of the experiment and do not believe Clenny acted in self-defense.
So now,
questioned how accurate this demonstration could be given the size of the man throwing the knife.
And logically speaking, someone who can generate that or has that much force to them would be able to generate a much larger amount of force stepping forward. So the fact that we're looking at the larger than the defendant, taller than the defendant, Mr. Brand, throwing the knife from a different distance than what the defendant says, this experiment is completely different than what the defendant said and the circumstances she faced at the time in which Mr. Meownwell was killed. I wouldn't say it's completely different. There are some
It's
The
different
defense countered
enough.
with attorney Sabrina Puglisi asking this question.
Were you present when I threw the knife during the demonstration and then stuck in the carcass?
Yumi, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for dropping a lurk. May you enjoy your dinner. And I'll check you out when you start streaming. And thank you regarding Misty Fight. Much appreciated.
And I was able to throw this knife and make it stick.
I want to bring in Josh Ritter. He's the host of Courtroom Confidential on YouTube, also a defense attorney and former prosecutor in LA County. Josh, the pig video is something I really haven't seen before. Obviously, humans and pigs share some physiological, anatomical similarities, so that's why they were using the pig.
Okay.
What were your thoughts when you see this video of this knife-throwing expert guy tossing knives at a pig, and for the defense to say, you should let Courtney Clenny out on bail because this proves or shows that things happened the way she said that they did?
I thought it was interesting. I've never seen something like that before. I have to applaud their efforts. I mean, they're really giving it a try here to try to convince this judge to let her out. I think at the end of the day, though, the judge is going to say, you know what, this is all fine and good, but these are great arguments in front of a jury. As far as my decision on bail, I've made that decision. Nothing that you've presented to me is convincing enough for me to believe that I should let her out. And that's essentially what they were asking for, is they're trying to say that, look, Judge, we have such a strong case based upon this new experiment demonstration that we've done that you should go ahead and grant her bail. I don't think that will entirely convince the judge, but I imagine we will see the same type of evidence presented at trial.
To me it was interesting that they actually, this was elaborate. This had to have cost a good chunk of change. They went to this knife-throwing guy. He's an expert. He's been doing this for decades. You've got also the forensic pathologist who was the expert. And they're all standing there throwing knives at this pig to try to demonstrate this. The prosecution meanwhile says she went at this with a downward thrust, that she was, up close to Toby or Christian Ambamselli when she stabbed him. Toby's his nickname. When she stabbed him. So it will be interesting to see if they're even allowed to present that to a jury. Do you think that would be allowed? Like, are we going to see a knife-throwing expert as an expert witness at trial? Do you forecast that?
I think there's a really good chance of it. If their expert is allowed to testify, and I don't see a reason why they wouldn't, that is their theory, that is her claim, that this knife was thrown then rather than being held in her hand at the time of the stabbing, that she threw it in an act of self-defense. And to support that, they're allowed to call experts. Now, the prosecution might argue that this is based on conjecture and speculation, and this is only going to serve to confuse the jury. But, and especially if she testifies that that's what happened, I imagine they will be allowed to call an expert to support that, and that expert's testimony might include this demonstration.
Well, Josh Ritter, the judge said she'll make a decision on this at a later date.
Yeah, as a layperson, aka potential juror member, it being technically possible with the right kind of knife and a pig carcass and funny, it feels like one of those things where it's like, yes, technically possible. Probable? I don't think so. Especially when all the other evidence involving like the crime scene, prior bad acts, witness testimony of what Abumseli was saying she would do, her own words probably used against her, friends, etc. It's gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be enough to be like, yeah, let her out on bail and not guilty. That was Law and Crime Network. They literally put out tons of content daily, and they will often signal boost various true crime content creators, which is awesome. So I love that for them. A lot of the footage that I see, it usually comes from Law and Crime TV, sometimes even Court TV. All right. I'm gonna grab Nasty Plot, I think. We're gonna keep Thunderbolt because it's a higher damage over Signal Beam. And then, since we're not P2, we can't use Eviolite. Instead, we'll go Citrus Berry and hope we don't die in one hit. Let's see. Okay, so Porygon is tentatively my Gyarados answer. I absolutely want a ground type to deal with Archaludon. Sadly, there's only like 2 ground normals, and neither of them are fast. So that's kind of an issue. I could use Blissey, now that I think about it. No, because Body Press. Oh, that's actually cringe. Okay. Right, Ursaluna, okay. The problem with that is the Blood Moon Ursaluna, which is a special attack Ursaluna, you cannot get that until you get to Cinnabon. So I'm realistically stuck using Diggersby. Yeah, that is not ideal. So I don't think I can actually use Diggersby for this then. Instead, we'll go someone else. Let's see. Name Archaludon. So honestly, we'll go Lopunny for this. And by that I mean we'll go Mega Lopunny. And we're just gonna have to suck it up, you know? It's definitely not what I would prefer to do, but we can make it work. We're also going to very likely eschew the Fake Out, because there's a very real possibility due to the high defense that Fake Out will not even clear Leftovers damage, Leftovers healing, which means it will still have Sturdy. So, all right. It's definitely not my most confident team, but maybe it'll be enough, you know? Okay, so Helios, that's for Palafin. This is for Kingdra. This is for Ferrothorn. This is for Gorbis. This is for Gyarados. This is for Archaludon. All right. Save. VOD friends, lurkers, hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you've been enjoying the Pallas Cats Pokemon crime coverage. Now we're gonna try to mog the frick out of Misty and show her how much of a Sigma we are thanks to our jawline. I'm expecting it to go Drain Punch because it'll burn the Choppleberry, and it can't do Flip Turn or any of the other moves because Dry Skin fizzles those moves. Save again. Interesting. I'm fine with that though. Okay, so who is it likely to swap into? I kind of feel like this is Gyarados or Archaludon. So let's see if that's what it ends up being. Okay, Kingdra. So this is... We're being outsped, of course, because Swift Swim. Its strongest move would be Dragon Pulse. So... I'm just gonna go for damage. Okay. I love that. Huge. All right, Ferrothorn. This is Leech Seed. I'm honestly gonna go for the Para. Just to, maybe he'll end up having to skip turns, you know? Power Whip, okay. Then, not ideal. It also had 90 accuracy, so he got lucky with that. But now we get the clean swap. Also, let's be real, Heliolisk did her job, so that's realistically what we needed. So now we go Flamethrower, adaptability 4 times, even with Rain, not enough. Gyarados. I regret not having Earthquake, not having a Shucca Berry, but we hold Cherry Berry because any time I usually try to swap in on Ferrothorn, they go for the T-Wave and the Leech Seed, so I wanted to break out of the T-Wave. So we're gonna go Will-O-The-Wisp since Pyroar's job is done, and I'm gonna hope I don't die from Earthquake. Or Waterfall. Mean Beam, adaptability, it's probably a good bit of damage. It was. I think at one stage he probably outspeeds, and he does. So that's fine. We more or less almost got him dead. We're gonna come in with Hopsy and give him a quick fake out. Okay, we're already in against Archaludon. We're gonna go on the jump kick. That brings him to sturdy. Weemok Punch, that kills. Gorbis, I'm low HP, so it goes random move. We can't use any whatnot against them. So we go into Porygon to set the Trick Room because it will often Shell Smash. Okay? Break Sash. So that's okay because I think I'll be fine. Yep, we hold on with Sash, lived at 1, speed doubled with Unburden. So Misty, actual first try, let's fucking go. That was huge. Now, the one I did anticipate to be the hardest. Stealth Rock, permanent electric terrain shenanigans. So how are we getting past that? Realistically, we're gonna go probably fake out to break sash into something else. A ground mon for belly bolt. A grass mon holding Yachi to deal with the ice. Indeedy, because Psychic Surge to override the electric terrain. Probably Fur Coat Wordeer for Pawmot. Lightning Rod Raichu for Manectric. And I don't know what for Iron Hands. Alright, so not bad. I'm definitely not looking forward to Iron Treads. Iron Treads is some real shenanigans. And not even like the cheeky kind of shenanigans, you know? Okay, so we absolutely want to keep Raichu. You know what, actually I decided I'm gonna keep Banksy. I'm gonna nix the Sash. I'm gonna go Air Balloon, Prankster Taunt, but it may end up just swapping out, you know, which kind of defeats the point of it, you know. Okay, so it has Sash, so we can't. Oh, I know what I can do. I can do the funny thing. Prankster and Switcheroo. I'll steal his item because it's funny. The only problem with doing that is I think I have to do it after I taunt because I don't want Stealth Rock. Defog is also an option, but flyers are usually defog. And oh wait, I think I have access to Tidy Up. Tidy Up also gets rid of these things. So let's actually look for that. Okay, so I actually need to figure out how Tidy Up functions because I've never used it before. Okay. Oh, it's at 70, so I might not be able to actually use it. Oh, that works. That's huge. So Cinecino gets Tidy Up at 60, so I don't have to go that because I can use Tidy Up to get rid of the rocks. Okay, that's actually big tech for me. I like Cinecino anyways because of Technician. Ah. Okay, so I know what we're gonna do. We are going to stick to the Air Balloon strat for Pyroar. Okay. We are going to have... Oh, I need to remove Sash. Right. Okay. We keep the Raichu. We go back to Lightning Rod. We ditch all our lightning moves because obviously lightning doesn't do anything to lightning. We absolutely need a ground mon to deal with the what's-his-face, the Belly Bolt. Okay, so that's Heliolisk, you've done your job. Banksy, we're not using you right now. I may end up using Porygon Z because Trick Room. I don't think I use Lopunite here. Keep the Raichu. We wanted Fur Coat Wordier. We want Indeedee because Psychic Surge. Oh, now that I actually think about it, there's maybe a world where I... okay. Let me look at Smeargle again. I kind of have an idea on how to possibly get what I was looking for. Okay. Okay, so... Yeah, never mind. So it was Cinecino because I wanted the ability to do Tidy Up. Since Mousehold doesn't get it until 70, which is very conveniently 2 levels off. Thank you, Supercell. Very cool. I'm gonna try to beat Koga today as well. I was hoping to get the Blaine, but Brock ate up actually more time than I expected. All right. There's Tidy Up. Okay, so Bullet Seed, Rock Blast. I'm not gonna do Tail Slap. There's enough fighting that we're gonna go with a Chipotle Berry. Okay. Skill Link, so we hit the max amount of times. Okay. Indeedee with Psychic Surge to override terrain. I need to understand Expanding Force. If it is only multi-target when it's on the terrain, I'm not super excited, you know? Alright, so we do go Expanding Force then. This will probably be the second time I've actually been able to use Expanding Dong. The first time was in Mono Psychic, of course. Okay, so no Psyshock. We're also gonna give Trick Room to Wordier because it helps having layers of redundancy in your setup, since there's no way to expand how long Trick Room will last. Alright. Let me go all the way in. Chaos Rift, thank you for the follow. I hope you're doing well. Radical Red, Mono Normal, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the first time chat. We are trying to figure out how to best Mog Surge in Mono Normal. Then we're gonna take on Koga. And then if I do bonus stream tomorrow, that'll give us time to take on Blaine. All right, let's see. So we more or less have all the Mon. I'm just trying to see what other moves we need to make this work. In order to challenge Koga, you have to do rematches of Brock, of Misty, and Surge. And they all have a gimmick. So Brock was permanent Sandstorm, Misty was permanent Rain, Surge was I mean, we're talking right here. Alright, so let's see. That's gonna be better than Drain Kiss. No. Oh, that reminds me, I need to get rid of all the electric moves since, you know, electric doesn't do anything to electric. Especially if it's outright immune to it. No. There's the expanding force. That's exactly what we were looking for earlier. It's always going to be setting it, so it's not a huge deal. I also have to be cognizant of the fact that Psychic Terrain blocks priority moves. Yeah. Yeah, no. No, thank you. Please peddle your wares somewhere else. For coverage. I'm not interested. Just because I actually don't have a lot of moves that I can use if I can't use electric moves. Alright. We have the Trick Room. We have the Recover. The Psychic is fine. No need for Thunderbolt. Oh wait, I have Signal Beam. I could be using that. Actually, no. I'll stick to Ice Beam because Frostbite is a good way to... Well, in this, they made it so cold moves, instead of it being a... basically paralyzed, they made it so it does special damage burn, and that's actually kind of nice. I don't think I'm ever gonna get the nasty plot off, so we're gonna go that. Instead of Citrus, we're gonna go Chipotle Berry as well because there's a fair amount of fighting coverage. Bambi, Trick Room, Psychic, Energy Ball, Ice Beam. I think Raichu still needs a move. Yeah, no Zippy Zap because Electric doesn't really care about Electric. Okay. That will more or less do. I think we're gonna run through it again. Okay. 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 Oh, does need an item. Right. Okay, we're gonna go for... that is a good question. I know what I'll use. I'll do the terrain extender. 8 turns the Psychic Terrain. It occurs to me I never grab something technically to deal with Belly Bolt, but maybe Raichu can do double duty, right? Bambi has Fur Coat. I don't want to be wasting turns of the Trick Room, so I don't think I go for the Protect setup. Instead, I'm gonna go for Citrus Berry for generic healing. Alright, so let's see. Go team. All right, Vermilion, we lead with Priscilla. Everyone is at their appropriate levels. You have Tidy Up to get rid of hazards. Save. One last check. Very good. All right, that's... I hate it, but okay. He does Stealth Rock on the first turn because the AI usually wants to. He probably goes Iron Head. He dies to burn, that's huge. Okay, Priscilla, well, Intimidate doesn't really matter because I'm a special attacker. This is probably Rising Voltage. I'm gonna take chip damage from Stealth Rock, but I'm gonna swap in with Raichu. It very likely wanted to go Rising Voltage, and that doesn't super matter. Okay, huge. So we haven't done Psychic Terrain yet, so we can Fake Out. Yep, Iron Hands. Not ideal. So this is probably Fake Out into Drain Punch. So I'm gonna go into Play Rough. Boy, that did nothing. Okay, that's a huge problem. All right, so how are we dealing with this? Indeedy. I don't think it kills, sadly, but... Oh, no, it does. Okay, that's huge. So, Manectric comes in. It is gonna outspeed. So, I want to try to get Trick Room off. We did get the Trick Room off. Let me double check. We did. Okay, huge. So we're gonna go Expanding Dong now, and it's probably enough to kill. It is, that's huge. No priority moves for Palmont. We can Expanding Force. He doesn't have Focus Sash in this. Rotom, we are still faster, but I don't think this is gonna be enough to kill. I'm gonna... No, I'm not. Oh, that's right, because Trick Room, it's slower. Okay, so... I mean, that's fine, but okay. So we're gonna go into someone that I know is slower. Bambi. Okay, that's fine. I'm glad the terrain's Jover because now I want to be faster than him. I'm gonna go for the Psychic because it's boosted by Psychic Terrain. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of that. We're gonna go Psychic again. Psychic again. We're gonna go with Mean Beam. And that Surge Down first try, huge. All right, so now we gotta prep for Koga. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna prep for Koga, but we're gonna fight him if I do bonus stream tomorrow, or when I resume normally on Monday. I stream every Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. through 8 p.m. Eastern. Pokemon, i.e. Radical Red, Crime Coverage, and Pallas Cats. So let's look at the team for Koga. I mean, I still have to fight a bunch of junk trainers on the way, but I think we lead with Raichu. We do Fake Out into Thunderclap, and that will very likely kill. Alright. We keep the Aura Sphere because with all the poison types, Play Rough really isn't going to get any play. Pun intended. We bring in Exploud because Soundproof is going to be the thing I want to use against... what's his face? Toxtricity. Alright. Switch. We're gonna go... Brain. Words are hard. Chipotle Berry, because fighting. Fake Out, we want to nix. We want a nix Aurasphere. Okay, so that's my answer to Swellow. Fire can be an answer to Exceligor, but Exceligor is also really fast, which is kind of a problem. In the past, when I haven't been able to outspeed, I rely on Trick Room. Okay, so Focus Blast from Exceligor would really hurt. So instead of Air Balloon, we are gonna go Chipotle Berry again. Okay. Greninja, very fast. So Trick Room right off the jump is gonna be quite nice. So Psychic. I definitely don't love the dark moves. There's only one fighting move though. No, that's not true. There's two. Okay. I think we're gonna put Thunderbolt back on instead of Recover. Okay. So yeah, Thunderbolt on Porygon Z. Thunderbolt on Wordier instead of Ice Beam. That's gonna be Colbur, because Psychic loses to Dark. Yes. Same thing for Indeedee. Okay. Indeedee's got a pretty good moveset overall, I'd say. We got the Expanding Dong, we got the Energy Ball for off coverage, we got D-Gleam. So we want Exploud for Toxtricity. The scariest thing here is Drapion, because Choice Scarf, Sniper, Wicked Blow means auto crit. And it's going to be auto crit that's really fast with a lot of damage. If we get Trick Room up before Drapion comes in, it's a non-issue. But I may not be able to actually do that. We are going to then nix the Foamy, because we did not... there's no hazard, so we don't have to worry about Tidy Up. And I'm likely gonna go Hidden Power Ground if Exploud doesn't get a ground move. And we are gonna go back to Soundproof, and we're gonna really hope that this time its moves are coded as sound, unlike Blood Moon, which sadly did not work for Soundproof. Yes. And then we'll also go Citrus Berry, because generic healing, if it turns out Soundproof doesn't work for some crazy weird and wild and reason, then we're gonna have to go back to Punk Rock and hold a normal berry to reduce how much damage it does. Can Exploud actually learn this? Okay, ground. Okay. So we're gonna go Hidden Power Ground and Exploud. So that's Saffron, save, because I don't want to have to redo a bunch of stuff. We want to reconfigure Hidden Power. Timona to ground, since Toxtricity is Poison Electric and thusly 4 times weak to ground moves. We keep Boom Burst, We keep Aurasphere. We nix... I think we nix Ice Beam, because we do have some ice coverage. Okay, so if it were to go according to plan, Raichu is for Swellow. Porygon can set Trick Room, has pretty good coverage. Indeedee sets Psychic Terrain to make Expanding Dong hit really hard. And is a good check for Greninja with the Energy Ball. The Cobra Berry will probably keep me alive. Persilla is meant to deal with Exceligor. Bambi is also meant to deal with someone. Mona. The only one I don't feel super confident about, I would say, is... I'm not sure who I'm using to stop Drapion, and I'm not sure who I'm using to stop Iron Valiant. Part of me wants to bring in Lopunny to do Fake Out into Jump Kick, but that's not gonna work because the poison offsets the weakness. Let's double check what Drapion's weaknesses are again. Yeah, ground. So the only ground mon I have access to are Slow as Frick, and they're both attack oriented. So I have nothing to really dunk on Drapion. Maybe there's a world where I'm able to get my Pyroar in and do a cheeky little Will-O-The-Wisp. We're double checking one last time. Okay. Okay. Alright, so we are going to watch one last Pallas Cat video. We're gonna save in front of Koga's gym, and then we're gonna find someone to raid. It is important to spread the love. Alright. I definitely did not get as far as I would have liked. I chalked that up to A, overestimating my ability, and B, not expecting to get stuck on Brock as long as I did. The two I were worried about, actual first tries. Brock took a minute. All right, Meow. So we'll pull up one last Pallas Cat video. And then it's gonna be, who do we raid? Who's doing Pokemon? All right. Pallas Cats are wild cats that live primarily in Asia. Rounded ears, rounded eyes. Incredibly dense fur due to it being cold as frick in the tundra. Less than 57,000 of them in the world. Their pupils and irises are circular like humans, so they look more personable. Pun intended. They got a stripy tail like a raccoon. The back of their feet are orange, and I don't know why. But it's kind of funny. Mating season for them is 1 day a year. Low population density. Over competition for food because of other predatory animals. They like to sit on their tail to keep their feet warm. Similar to the snow leopard putting its tail in its mouth to stay warm. And this is gonna be one where I think Mia is also a Pallas Cat from Russia that had kittens this year. So that's at least 3 litters of Russian Pallas Cats born this year to help offset the losses we had earlier. And may they all reach sexual maturity and keep the cycle alive. This will be from Monolization i.e. Roman Pavlov on YouTube. They're so precious, and I don't care what anyone says. They have a summer coat and a winter coat. This is in the summer. They look a lot lighter, leaner, and like a normal cat. In the winter, giant puffball, which I'll pull up a picture and show you. Okay, let's see. And then this is them in the winter. This is Zelenogorsk. He is a Russian Pallas Cat. His name roughly translates to Greenville or Greenberg because that's the town he was found in. They like to sit on their tail to keep their peats warm. Absolutely adorable. Absolutely fluffy. 10 out of 10 would risk losing an arm to pet. VOD friends, lurkers, hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you everyone who stopped by to keep me company, to enjoy the Pallas Cats, the crime content, and the Pokemon coverage. Now we're gonna find someone to raid, and it'll be a good one. Maybe bonus stream tomorrow, because I was hoping to get the Blaine today, or at the very least beat Koga. And I think if Brock didn't take like 7 attempts, we probably could have beaten Koga, unless Koga ends up also being incredibly difficult for an unforeseen reason, which it certainly wouldn't be the first time. So now we're gonna find someone to raid. Let's see who we want to go with this time. Ideally someone who's playing Rad Red, but you know, maybe not. And then they all actually need to be active and not just like, oh, stream went offline. Herp derp. Okay. VOD friends, lurkers, everyone who stopped by, may you have a good rest of your Thursday into the weekend. Thank you for watching. Please make good decisions. And if I'm not live tomorrow, I will see everyone on Monday as usual, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, I did find someone, provided they're actually on. Excuse me. All right, very good. This will absolutely do the trick. All right. Yes, that will do. Oh no. That's unfortunate. They made it so I can't. Well, their loss. Okay. I apologize. I need to find someone else real quick. There's just, it's either like 1,000 viewers or 1. I guess we're gonna go with this one because it's something. Okay, that'll actually work then. Finally. All right. Let's make sure I actually spelled that right. I almost did. Not bad for her first try. I was never good at spelling. There we go. Do it and do it live. Let's see what this person's up to. All right, go team.